Hi, my name is Claire Fielder. I am a life and business strategist. So it's awesome to have you on the call today. And if you're watching the replay, welcome to you as well. So just a little bit of housekeeping before we get into the masterclass for today. If you have any questions, pop them in the chat box below or on the event page, and we'll be taking questions at the end of the presentation. It takes a little while for the questions to come through. So I think there's something like a minute, 2 minute delay on this. So if you want to pop in your question, that would be great. If you're watching on replay and you want to ask a question, just hit reply to the email I've sent you and let me know, or come into the Facebook group, my mastermind group, the Business Percolator, and I will answer your question in there. The presentation, I think the class should take around about maybe 30 minutes or so. So it may be a little bit shorter than the hour I've put in, but it's Friday, hey? If we finish a little bit early, we can always go have a little glass of wine or something. So let's get on with this. Let me find the presentation for you. Let me just share this up for you. And hopefully you can start to see that. So as I said, this series is all about the know, like, and trust series. So we know for ourselves how important it is for our customers to really know, like, and trust us, because that's how they buy and that's why it's important. But how do we get them to love us? For more clarity, more freedom, and more clients. So in this training, I'm going to cover a number of different areas, including understanding what is unique about you. What value do you offer that nobody else does, i.e., or aka, what makes you special? I'm also going to be diving into the clarity around talking to future customers with passion, because we love to buy from people who are passionate, don't we? Then I'll be moving into the insights into the values your business has, and hopefully your business does have some values. And we'll also be looking at who is your ideal customer, because we want business to be fun, hey? We want business to be dealing with the people who light our fires and are just a delight to work for. And then, as I said, at the end, we'll have a quick Q&A session. So you might be thinking, who is this lady? Oopsie daisy. Who's this lady speaking at the moment? And I say hello, darlings. I say hello to darlings to everybody. So I'm going to say to you as well. And my name is Claire Fielder. As I said, I am a life and business strategist. So I really adore finding the simplicity of life. And there's a little hint there in the word of simplicity. You'll be hearing a little bit more about that later. And I think I'm really much a heart listener. And I often see beauty, which lots of other people ignore, which makes me very unique. As I said, I guide people to see both their light and the shadow of who they are, because we all have light and shadow, and it's about embracing that. I also especially help new and emerging female entrepreneurs get really laser focused and clear on how best to use their energy so they can get some beautiful, real results in their business. There's other two key things that you need to know about me. This is all over my website. My life motto, which is a spare hand is a helping hand. So I was brought up in a very small seaside town on the south coast of England. And if ever I saw a neighbour walking down the road with a shopping bag, I was always taught to offer a spare hand and to help them carry their shopping. So from a very young age, that has been a very strong life motto for me. And with my business motto is all about making the complex simple. And we'll discover more about that as we go through the presentation. So as I said in the sales page for this presentation, this is all about understanding the 3 key areas. And those to me are your skills, your ideal client, and your value. And the middle of that Venn diagram is where you're going to find the absolute magic that happens. So let's dive in. So your skills. When you think about your skills, it's really, really important, especially when I deal with private clients. I say this as the first port of call to them, is always evaluate for yourself what skills you think you have. And this is without anybody else's input. We know how media from all different angles can sort of distill our view about what is achievable, what we should be doing, and what we feel. But if we actually look inside ourselves, we actually know most of those skills ourselves. And if we're a little bit quiet and do some journaling and start to list them out, you can start to see what you believe to be your own vision. What makes you you? What are your beliefs? And sometimes when you get to the end of that list, you might be thinking, well, there's something a little bit missing. And if that is the case, which sometimes it is, kind of think to yourself, what do you wish other people would notice more about me? By asking that question, you kind of really start to reveal what value you offer to people. It might be you wish people would notice, I'm more considerate, or how I've organized an event, a social event, or something like that. And it really is about understanding what you offer the world for yourself. The next key thing I would say to do after you completed that exercise, and only afterwards, as I said, is to ask other people's opinion, other people's view. Now, this can get a little tricky, granted, because other people have their own stuff going on, and you need to look at the total feedback you get from people and see those general trends. So I always suggest to people to ask 2 key questions to around about maybe 10, 20 people. So the 2 key questions are: ask others what your best 3 qualities are. So what are your best 3 qualities? And then the second question would be, how would you describe me to somebody else? Now, those 2 questions can be super revealing. I know when I did this exercise for myself, I knew elements of myself. And when I asked these people their questions, they came back. And I didn't realize they had seen parts of me and my qualities that I had never really realized before. When you think about it, how often do you actually let a friend know, what you appreciate them or how you value them? It's not very often do we go out of our way just to let somebody know that we appreciate and value them. So actually, maybe a great opportunity for your friends to let you know this. So as I said, I would pick between maybe 10 and 20 people, and I'd do a variety of people who are quite close to me, people who are acquaintances, maybe people I've worked with in the past, family as well. And the way you might want to go about it, because it might seem a bit strange thing to do initially if you're not used to asking those types of questions, it's just to say you're doing a little self-development work, or you're doing a course, or you're doing something for work, and you need to know these things. And so, it doesn't really matter what people think they're doing it for. What happens is the results is really important. So as I said, remember to look at the general trends. I know when I got mine back, there was a couple of odd comments, and I thought, well, that really isn't me. And if you feel instinctively in your gut that way, then it's probably true. It probably isn't like you, and somebody may have just misinterpreted something. So as I said, when you look at both 2 lists together, you'll find a really nice balance and an overview of those skills that you have. The next thing is to look at what can I do? And this is kind of like looking at a list of CV or resume. What skill set do you have? Think about the various projects and tasks that you can do. As I said, a bit like a job description. So for me, I'm a business consultant, and I can look at huge amounts of data and then translate it into really easy, understandable, bite-sized chunks of information to my clients. And then together we can really plug it into their strategy. So there's probably lots of skill set you have, not only in your workplace, but also think about what you do socially as well. And some of those, as I said, if you organize lots of social events, you've got some great skill sets there. Then we move on to what you are passionate about. So as I said, I can analyze lots of big chunks of data, but it's not always what actually lights me up. But what a passion I do have is dancing. So I don't actually dance as a profession, but it's about looking at the different layers to it. So I would say I'm an okay dancer. I've done some some competitions and things like that. And I remember one particular team building day. Yes, I have been on a few corporate team building days in my time. And we actually had to create a dance routine. And prior to that, I had just spent the last 2 months of all my free time rehearsing to perform in the Olympic ceremony when it was in London. And so when this task came up, I just naturally did it. And I really didn't think anything of it. I just did what I thought naturally came to me. So what I noticed when I go back to that experience and look at it in more detail and more depth is actually I was very good at observing and implementing what I had seen other people doing for the last 2 months. So yes, we were having fun and doing all our dancing, but I was noticing how the teachers led us, how they were talking to us, how they were helping us feel confident, and if there was any particular issues coming up and how they dealt with us. So it allowed me to have that natural empathy for people who feel like they can't dance when we were doing this task. I also had the MD of the company in my group, which could be a little bit intimidating, but at the end of the day, I thought, he doesn't want to be made a fool of, but he does want to be, show that he's up for a laugh and having some fun. So I made sure that I used him in the routine in the most sympathetic way possible. And because we didn't have, dancers that were very comfortable doing that, we had also lots of filling segments as well. So people could do some little moves, and made it look great, but actually they didn't have to do much. As I said at the time, I just did it. I didn't analyze it. But I'm sure you've got lots of examples like that where you can go back and think for yourself what you have just done naturally because you are passionate about. So I've taken all those skills and now I can transfer them into the work I do, how I have empathy, how I observe things. These are very easy little signposts for me to know. Then know what you value and already offer. So if you're a new and emerging entrepreneur, one of the things you'll have to get used to is defining the benefits that you offer to others. And if you already know what value and benefit you offer to people, you're going to be ahead of the game. I wish somebody had told me this. Nobody did when I first started. So, think about your friends and your family and what you've already accomplished with them. Maybe you've helped somebody to lose weight, or you motivated them to change their life in some way. Great. Notice that. Start to kind of note it down maybe in a journal and see the benefits that you just naturally give to other people. And I know I'm going to be talking about this later on in the series, but when you think about benefits, just as a real top line, think about them in 4 different terms. Think about them in the financial sense. So have you saved somebody some money? Have you enabled somebody to upgrade very elegantly in their life? Think about the physical element. Have you helped somebody lose weight or helped somebody to sleep better? Emotionally, what emotional support have you helped somebody through a really difficult time? And spiritual, then that can be religious, or it can take any interpretation on what you like to do. Let's see if that just goes down. Great. So then how does that make our customers love you? Well, first of all, you're going to be absolutely crystal clear on what you do and what you can do and what you enjoy doing. So, when somebody asks you, can you do X, Y, Z? You can absolutely say confidently, yes, I do. And that confidence will really say something to those future customers. But also, for example, as I said, I can analyze big sheets of data, but I don't always enjoy it. But I also coach, teach, and mentor individuals and groups. And I really, really enjoy that. So you're going to understand exactly what you're good at and what you're passionate about. And that's got to be a winner for your customers. The next is making it easier for your clients to decide if they want to work with you. Now, for yourself, if you need a problem fixed or help with something to improve, some element of your life, and you just want somebody to help. By saying what you can and can't do allows others to make decisions if they want to discover more about you. It's better to have a filter of people saying, no, this person isn't for me, rather than them trying to discover and wasting your time that you really can't help them. And just remember how much information we get thrown at us every day. So by having a really clear essence of a message on your website or letting people know what you do, it may be that you can't help that particular person at that time, but because your message is clear, those future customers will come back. There may be a friend who refers to you. So, think about that. Also, by being super clear about what you're doing and understanding your skill set, you are able to set boundaries around the work. I don't know if any of you have been in project management or heard the phrase project scope creep. It's one of the worst things that can happen, where you get tasks added on and on and on to a project which you haven't accounted for in time or money or energy or even manpower or people power. So now you can confidently say what is and isn't included in your work and what you do. Your work will be touched by passion. I know this is super obvious, but when you do something which you're passionate about, there's just a different energy. Think back to a time that you encountered somebody who was passionate about what they did, and what impact did it leave on you? Did the passion ooze into everything they did? And wouldn't you prefer to buy somebody like that than somebody who doesn't really kind of give a damn? Because you are passionate, you are naturally gonna over-deliver. Again, this is super obvious, I know, but it really does create raving fans. People will tell other people about you. Again, this inner confidence of what you are capable of and the results you deliver. By knowing that and what benefits and results you've gained, even though you're trying to help other people, and as I said before, friends and family, you've just gained it naturally. That will fuel your self-confidence and self-belief. If we're all being honest, in business, we all have those wobbly days. I'm there, everybody does. You sometimes think, who am I to be doing this? And those are the key times to be referring back to these lists to gain that self-confidence and self-belief over what you're doing. So the next key area to talk about is your value. So what do you stand for? As I said, sometimes, you can be facing some really interesting challenges, especially as, people wanting to do business with you. But knowing what you stand for will make decisions so much easier. As I said earlier on, my word for 2015 is simplicity. And that is something, when anything starts to feel complicated, I stop and see how it can be simplified. And if it's something is aligned to your core values, when things start to feel difficult and hard, that's a really good indicator that something isn't right, and which, takes us out of that zone of just being in the flow when things are moving perfectly and doing what we're good at. So know what you stand for, what your key words are. Maybe it's something like simplicity, it may be action, it could be anything you like. Just understand what that is for you, because as a sole entrepreneur, you are you in your business. So how does this affect your biz? So when you think about it, if you worked in corporate, you always have a mission statement, and that will flow into all areas of projects and communication. And again, this is going to help you decide what projects you want to take forward and which clients you want to work with. And this is also really vitally important for when you're choosing who you outsource work to. And if you hire anybody into your business as well, you can make sure they're fully aligned to your values. So how does this affect your clients, especially your future clients? It makes it really super easy for people to identify with you. I mean, if you think for yourself of any business or life icons you might have, usually it's easy to say what they stand for and why you are attracted to them, even if you haven't seen it written down. This makes you stand out from the crowd and the competition, and that always has to be a winner. The story of our why. Now, this could be a presentation all on its own. This is such a massive topic. There's books, TED Talks, blogs, you name it. There might even be a t-shirt on it, I don't know. But knowing why you're in business will really help your clients to connect to you. Even if you don't have to share the full details, customers will understand that you have empathy with their problems, their challenges, their goals, and their visions. And just on that note, I know lots of people say you have to write your full why out in a great story and put that onto your about page when you're first starting out. And I know that can be really scary, especially if you've got some difficult issues to talk into why you're doing what you're doing. Know that you don't always have to give away the full details. If they're particularly very personal and you don't want, all and sundry to see it on the internet, know that when you're talking to your future clients, they will understand that you have empathy. I know for myself recently, a friend was poorly, and I don't speak about the fact very much that I have a little disease. And so when she was talking about her problem, I said, I talked to her with great empathy and understanding wherever people were dismissing what she was saying. And so later on, she had some treatment and she got better. And she came up to me and said, have you gone through something similar? And I said, yes, actually, I have. And she just knew, even though I hadn't told her what was happening to me, just through the way I had dealt with her. So it's really important to remember. So understanding how this will affect your clients, making it easier for customers to know what you stand for. Again, making the buying process easier for clients is always a winner. So enabling the clients to decide if they like what you stand for will make the know, like, and trust scale so much shorter for you. Allow clients to identify if you're the right fit for them. Again, I know this is super obvious. If you're working with somebody for over a period of time, you want to know that they're a good fit. For example, when I look for a dentist, I hate needles. I really don't like needles at all. And I need to make sure that my dentist will treat me with empathy and respect. The fact that I can deal with spiders in my home, absolutely fine. But when it comes to a needle, there will be tears. I'm fine otherwise, it's just the needles I really don't like. So it's really important for me when I look for a dentist that they show empathy within their sales copy or when I actually meet them. Your value style will just flow through your touch points with your clients. Think of all the different aspects when you deal with a client. Think about your sales page, the free content that you do, all the way up to the contract and your refund policy. All of that, all those values that you have within your business will be flowing through all those individual touch points, all those different forms of communication you have with your clients. There will be a consistency of how you deal with your clients. And who doesn't love working with somebody who is consistent? Especially, when there's an issue, you might not agree with what the person is saying, but if they're consistent, it makes it a lot easier to understand. Now set yourself apart from your competition. Of course this is going to do this, because by making the decision for your customers to buy from you because of the values you stand for, it just absolutely sets you head and shoulders above your competition. And allow your customers to identify with you. As we said, like, buy from like. Basically, we are like nosy neighbors, and we want to get to know each other and more about each other. And when we create those virtual hooks of knowledge with our clients, they really begin to know, like, and trust us. And so the final area that we're going to be talking about is your ideal client. So who do you like working with? Because let's face it, I think business is supposed to be fun. I hope you do too. If you are just starting out, make a list of those projects or work situations or social situations where, you've worked with those best teams, that got the best out of you, or the most amazing client. Really look at those situations and look at what qualities did those people have that you really connected with. And it's, everybody is different, and that's absolutely fine. Just work out the types of clients you like to work with. It's your business after all. You get to decide. And you know that you don't have to have this set in stone, and no, you don't have to have the answers all at once. Absolutely, you don't need to do that. Create a list, and that list can be refined, refocused over time. And when you start out, please don't say you help out everybody. Do make some boundaries of who you do like working with. And as I said, it's not set in stone. Just like your sales page, it can change. It's okay, I promise you. The next element is positioning. Now, some people really love working with high-end customers, and that's all they want to help, and that's absolutely fine. And there are people who want to help other people at the opposite side of the scale to that, and that's absolutely fine. But knowing where you're positioning yourself will really help you influence with your branding, with your pricing, how you communicate to customers, what forms of communication you take with them. The list is endless. By knowing this will really help your clients to love you. Niche, or niche if you're in the US, by targeting who you can help. I said very similar to that first section when we were talking about our skills. You know, the same is true of clients. Maybe you get great results working with a particular type of client, but actually you really don't enjoy it. And actually you would prefer working with a different type of client. Know who you want to target, and again, be defined and refocus, and it can change over time. It's absolutely fine. So why will your ideal clients love you, or your customers love you, for knowing who you work with? Your clients will think and feel like you deeply know them. I can't emphasize this one enough. By understanding who your clients are, is how you're going to communicate to them, as I said before, the language that you will use. They will absolutely recognize and understand you've been in a similar situation, or you are just a person to help them. And again, it really does build on that know, like, and trust factor. You will create blogs, videos, podcasts, and you'll be really speaking to them because you understand them. You'll be given your most amazing top tips and top line support into particular areas they want and need help on. Again, making it easier for them to share their message, your message, with similar people who might need your help. I mean, who wouldn't love that to happen? Again, you're building long-term relationships along the like, know, and trust factor. This isn't a race. I'm going to repeat that one because that's quite a strong statement to make. This isn't a race. I know quite often we have comparison bias and see everybody else having 6-figure launches and 7-figure business. You are in this to build a long-term relationship with your customers. Move along the know, like, trust factor scale, and know that it is different for every client. Now, some people can be on a mailing list for centuries and not buy anything from you, but they really love what you have to say, and they may refer other people to you, but they don't particularly buy from you. While other people, it's just an instant buy from you. They love your product and service, and it's instant payment. So know that whole scale can take a very different amount of time for lots of different people. What is key though in all of this is making sure you have a consistent approach. And by doing that, no matter where the person is on that scale, they are going to be drawn and attracted to you. And also the final point in here is just to make sure that you create those solutions, free and paid, to help and inspire them. That will really make them love you. Again, reminded that we attract like-minded people. As you grow and your clients grow and develop, you can offer more services and more products for them to discover to help those problems. As I said, these are those 3 core areas that I've talked about. So your key skills that you have, as I said, look inside yourself first, know for yourself what you believe you offer the world, then go and ask other people and just calibrate where you feel your zone of genius is or your skill set is, and make sure you bring in the passion. So make sure you know what your skills, your talents, your attributes are, but also make sure that you understand which ones you're passionate and most fired up by. Then I talked about, your values. Again, so vitally important into gaining customers to love you. Know what you stand for, and your customers will make it easier to understand your message and communicate to others what they feel. Then looking at your ideal clients. Again, by knowing who you want to serve will make this process so much simpler. So what are the next steps? Hopefully you've enjoyed that presentation and that masterclass so far. And if you'd like to discover how I can help you more, then do book in for a free 30-minute clarity and refocus strategy call. I have my calendar appointment link there for you. It's quite long, apologies for that. So it's calendly.com/clarity-fielder/@and-refocus-clarity-call. If you want to have that or you can't remember that, then just send me an email to the one that I've sent to you about this call, and I'll forward you on the link. I'll forward it on with the replay, actually. That probably would be a good idea. So hopefully you found that useful. So it's time for Q&A now. So let me stop sharing the screen and see if I can get back to the chat box here. Great stuff. So I've got a couple of questions here. Let me just check in this chat box. So I don't know who asked this question, but somebody said, do you think that coaches should review their ideal client periodically, or do you think they'll evolve more naturally? Great question. So I think it's a combination of both. It's when you have a website, the great thing to do is review it every 6 months. So look at your sales copy and understand who you're speaking to, because you as a coach and the type of people that you coach will evolve over time. That's quite natural. And so that escalation period of how you grow as a new coach will be so much more significant. So in the early days, you might want to check in with that ideal customer, that ideal client, a lot quicker, a lot sooner than maybe if you're a more established coach. So if you're a more established coach, you might want to, check back in every 6 months, maybe every year, but you will evolve because we're human beings, aren't we? And we develop and grow ourselves. So that's a great question. Thank you for whoever got that. I'm just going to check. Oh, it's from Noelle. So thank you, Noelle, for that. Hello, how are you doing? So let me just check on the event page. Let me just check here and see if I can get to the event page. There we go. And see if there's any questions in there. There aren't any questions at the moment. That's no worries. That's fine and dandy. So if you are watching this on the replay, then thank you for watching. As I said, just reply to my email and ask me some questions. Come on to my Facebook page, which is the Business Percolator, and ask a question in there. And hopefully you found this useful. I can't wait to connect you and see more of you. So the next one in the series, I haven't decided exactly when that's going to be. It might be Thursday next week, or it might be Friday. I'm thinking probably Friday, but I will let you know. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I really appreciate your time. So from the bottom of my heart to the bottom of yours, thank you very much.